So I'm gonna post a Thursday picture. Don't you think I should? I know. I'm going to post. A, I'm gonna post a throwback picture. I don't have many of those. I guess they didn't spend a lot of time doing me back then. So I'm gonna post a picture, a Thursday picture. You all want a throwback Thursday? I'll eventually post it, right? One of the things that's interesting to me. Have you? Anyone here has LinkedIn? Anybody here has a LinkedIn page? When I My LinkedIn page is filled with the most interesting people in the world. I swear, I have to be one of those persons who has the most interesting followers ever, right? They're just amazing. I don't. Some people pay for sponsored followers, where they buy followers, makes their numbers increase, and Instagram is about to stop that because they think it's encouraging bullying, and the rest of us are like, and so you're going to punish us for those folks who engage in bullying? I don't think so. But I'm not the one who makes the policies. I just go along with it. But I have the most interesting followers, right? So I'm on a variety of social media platforms, including this one that you're watching me in. And one of them that I'm on is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the professional network for professionals. So whatever you do, right? That's where you post your credentials and your background. So people who are interested in you, or people if you're looking for a job, or you want to put yourself out there. So if they ever search using LinkedIn's app system, and if they ever search looking for, I hate allergies. I swear I'm going to go to an ENT any day now because this is not happening for me, right? But if people are searching for, hi, welcome to Periscope, how are you, right? And so they can find you. So on LinkedIn, there are some folk, and LinkedIn gives you a chance to message the person. So it's not quite like the Facebook Messenger thing where you have to have a separate app for it, or how Facebook can just be way out there. But LinkedIn, there are some interesting people there. I mean, I get people from Africa, right? And India and Bangladesh who tell me they want to do business, or they've been to my website and there are ways in which they can help me. Now, personally, I don't do business with people out of the country because, one, identity theft, right? Number two, if there is a problem, I can't track you down. So I don't do business with people out of the country. So if you're not homegrown here in the United States, if you're not on homeland, I'm not touching it. Because if there's a problem and I want some action, I want to feel like I can do that, right? Years ago, I had a website. This might have been about 10 or 11 years ago now. I had a website, and back then the domain hosting was not as it is today. Today your domain and your website name is hosted by the same people. Back then it was not. And it was hosted by some folk from out of the country. I think they were in Australia, so there was a huge time difference. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was when I had issues, I couldn't track them down. Then they sold the business to someone else. So we got caught up in that. And I'm like, no, if you're not homegrown, and I didn't know that when I signed up for the website, I was just given a number to call. And what they did was they had a local number, a US number. But when you called, you were forwarded out of the country. So I don't buy stuff on websites that are not here in the US. When you go to Amazon and you're buying stuff on Amazon, be careful because sometimes you buy stuff and you end up finding out that it is being shipped from overseas and it takes forever. And then when it comes, it's not what you ordered or it doesn't look like. And then you can't get your money back. I read where people are coming from because it's too much to follow and too much to go through. So this morning I was reading hey Pam, and let me see what's this here. Hey everybody else. this morning I was reading my emails and I got this email from this interesting individual in India. And he was saying that he could do things with my website that it's great marketing, excellent marketing. I had to tell him, your marketing sounds excellent, but no, thank you, because I don't do I don't do business with folks who are out of the country. Because if something goes wrong, you can't get your money back. My one of my daughters bought a swimsuit from a website on Instagram. You just click on the link and so on. And she thought that it was local meaning domestic within the country. And she still hasn't gotten the swimsuit yet, nor can she get her money back. And when she complained about it, she found out that there were other people who had been shafted by this website as well. So she called them out on social media and they changed their handle, changed their name, and changed everything. I said, well, see, that's why I learned my lesson. And now the internet is wide open. It's a wide open field out there. And as wide and open as it is, guess what? Hey, beautiful. Well, someone is calling me beautiful this morning. Hey, well, you person, you calling me beautiful, you need to stay here with me. I'm going to need your support because we're going to talk about relationships this morning. And I'm going to tell you what happened to me. The reason why, I don't know, maybe it was hot yesterday here in Michigan and I was driving around. So maybe the heat got to me. But when I went to bed last night, I don't know what happened. But I woke up this morning thinking about this thread about relationships. If your partner says that you're too confident, or do they say you're arrogant, how does that affect the relationship? And I think it's a throwback for me. And I don't know, it must be the Throwback Thursday thing, or maybe it was too hot in Michigan and so on. So I don't know. So you're going to feel sorry for me when this is done. That's the whole point. Good morning. You're going to feel so sorry for me with my allergies. I swear, I'm going to an ENT. I'm going to make an appointment to go see my primary care and then go to an ENT. I can't take this anymore. I've just about had it with my nostrils, my head. I'm going to the doctor. I can't take the sniffles anymore with this allergy stuff. It's like it's never ending. It's never, ever going to stop. For the love of God, stop. So, and then yesterday I went to people were trying to get all the stakeholders and community partners together about human trafficking here in some parts of Southeast Michigan. And there are always people who are helping. And this story erupted out of it hilariously, but wasn't hilarious, kind of like one of those moments when you're just like, so this lady was saying that she was driving down one of the cross streets that intersect with East 8 Mile Road. I'm not going to say which one. I think it was Van Dyke. And she saw a child who had been reported missing. So she called the police department. At that point, that was Detroit. And Detroit police, the 911 dispatcher said, they can't do anything about it. They'd send a cop. She waited and waited. She saw the child with a man, with an adult, walking. And she called the police, and the police did not respond. So she went over to the other side of 8 Mile, to the Warren side, and the Warren police showed up in 3 minutes. So she brought this to light while we're in a meeting with one of the chiefs of the Detroit Police Department, and everyone in the room just went like this. And this was me. Answer. And I'm like, well, the ball is in your court. And everyone was just like, are you kidding me? You called to report that a missing child who is missing and you didn't respond? I mean, even the police leaders who were there were stunned themselves. They could not grasp or wrap. He kept saying, I can't get it at. I need you to talk about this because I can't get it. Because he kept saying he couldn't wrap his mind around the fact that you called in to say. So there was a disconnect there. It was just one of those things. So I said that to say, if you see something, say something. So I want to give you a text number. You can save this for human trafficking. Like if you see a lost or missing child, right? Text 233733. 233-733. Anywhere you are in the United States, text it and just tell them what the details are. All they have for you is a phone number that came in through with a text. They're not going to do anything. They'll just say, give them location and time, description. Always include those three things: location, time, and description, so that they have something to work with, so they know where to go, what to do, what are they looking for. Because often we know that children who are reported missing end up being trafficked. And sometimes they end up being trafficked, they end up missing, they run away from home because home is a bad place, right? Home is a bad place. And children don't necessarily want to go back home because home is so bad that whatever is out there can't be worked. Do you see what I'm saying? From a child's point of view, that's what a child thinks. The child is thinking, it can't be so bad out there because home is so bad. So whatever else is out there has to be better than what is at home, right? I heard stories of people interfering with children, uncles. Sometimes it's an uncle, sometimes it's a stepdaddy, sometimes it's a boyfriend or whatever it is that makes home so bad that a child does not want to go back home. So I just wanted you to know I was driving down East 8 Mile yesterday, and between Mound and Gratiot, there were 5 strip clubs. Yes, I did say that, and I brought that out. I was like, I want to know. Nobody could answer. Everybody looked like. I said, yeah, I was counting, and I'm like, do you want a list of the names? Because I think I took pictures of the names because the names were interesting. Players? One is called Truth, and I'm like, Truth of what? A strip club named Truth on East 8 Mile Road on the Detroit side. Can't happen. 5 strip clubs between Mound and Gratiot. That's got to stop. We became aware of it, and we were like, wait a minute. That's another one? 5 strip clubs. So you know what that tells us? That folks from Macomb County are driving down Mound because there are no strip clubs in Warren. Warren, what are the cities in Macomb County? I can't even tell. Warren, Sterling Heights, Madison Heights is Oakland County. I get confused. But those cities that are in Macomb County, there are no strip clubs up there. They're all in Detroit. So they're driving down Van Dyke, they're driving down Mound, they're driving down Gratiot, Hoover, Schoner. What's the other one? Hoover, Schoner, Gratiot, Mound, Ryan, DeQuinder. They're driving down all those streets from the suburbs straight into Detroit to go have sex with young people and then go back home. I kid you not. Yes, it does happen. And you're all looking at me like, what? Yeah, it happens. So that was something else when that happened. If you see a light behind me, I'm hoping I turn that you can see it. It's advertising my book, After the Fire. That's what that is doing. So get ready for that one. It's coming up and it's coming, right? So I wanted to talk about relationships. Are you ready to dive in? You all are nodding your heads like, You want to hear me? When I first started doing this several months ago, one of my followers, I'm looking for him. He hasn't joined it, but he was like, we just want to hear you talk about relationships. He says, we want to hear you talk about sex. Just tell us the meaty part of the sex. And I'm like, my daughter was walking past and she saw us coming and she was like, ew, that's just creepy. And I'm like, I hope he's not doing anything while I'm talking about relationships. You just never know. So, like I said, it must have been a hot day yesterday. And I went to bed. And yes, I have central air. Yeah, I do. And yes, but I was hot. It took a while. Oh my God, I feel like my energy had zapped. I hope today it's going to be hot and muggy. I hope the sun doesn't punish us. Lord, I felt like I was being punished. And I kept thinking about people who live in zones where, I woke up this morning and I was thinking like, what about the folks who live in parts of the world where the sun just feels like it's punishing them all the time? And I'm like, ew. And I was like, God, have mercy on us. I kid you not. I was like, God, Lord, have mercy on us. And I'm like, thank God I live in the Midwest. I thought I would retire. I thought that at some point in your life you have to think about retirement. So I was thinking, well, when it comes to that point, I'll never retire. I'll always be getting up every day and have something to do. But I thought I would move back to Florida after last summer. I can't take it. Worse is when I see these dinosaur-looking creatures that are called alligators now, but they look like dinosaurs. And Tex and Mex and Rex. What do we call them? Rex? The dinosaur? I was like, that's a dinosaur walking in somebody's lawn. No, I'm not living in Florida today. No. Oh, no. South Carolina, no. I'm scared. I don't want to hear pum, pum, pum on my door. And then there is an alligator standing there. No. So I'll just stay here and deal with a cold. And then, just take a flight. Right? Texas? What is that dinosaur called? The Rex guy. What's he called? You all know what's his. Yes. Can you imagine you hear scratch on your window? Like the woman who went home in Florida, somewhere in Tampa, and she went home and she heard scratching on her window, and it was the alligator. And she's inside the house. And then the alligator went to another window. Me? I would not be normal. I would have screamed so much that I have to airlift me out of there. Oh my God. Listen to this, y'all. The Supreme Court says that federal courts have no role in policing partisan redistricting. Look at my face. Okay, mum's the word. Okay, mum's the word. All right, so we're gonna talk. That's why we need to talk about relationships. Let's just talk about relationships and leave that one alone, because there's gonna be some fights out there. Anyway, so I woke up this morning thinking that a few years ago, when I decided to enter the world of dating, yeah, you know the name of it. Put vocals so we can talk. Okay. How do I do that though? I don't know how to do that. Let me see. I don't know how to do that. Ask for follows, data mode, flip camera. Does your broadcast details? Okay, let's see. I don't know how to do this. Put vocals so we can talk. Share broadcast. No, that's not what we're doing. Share the link. No, we're not doing that. Anyway, so anyway, you must press the audio thing. You got to start back. Oh gosh, dude, let's try that tomorrow. If you know how to activate it, go ahead. I want to talk to you too. I promise you I'll look into this. Okay? I want to talk. So forgive me. You can message me. I'll see it, right? So years ago, when I decided to re-enter the world of dating, like everybody else, if you have been married, right, or been in a committed relationship for a while, then you kind of lose your footing. So you forget everything about dating. It is weird out there, right? So you have to cancel your life and start back. It's fun. I don't want to do that because I might forget. That's the real deal. So what happened is, I decided to re-enter the world of dating, and like everything else, I don't do online dating because I think it's creep central, right? I think you're setting yourself up. I don't know how people do that. I'm not putting my details out there like that. So remember ashleymadison.com? Remember that? Okay. So I was introduced to this guy by a mutual friend. And the mutual friend, you won't have difficulty. You look fun. Okay. And the mutual friend introduced me to someone. So obviously he had done the pre-work, which is to establish that the person and I would have some things in common. One of which was obviously the person should have been married before or have had some exposure to relationships, because and a certain age group, although age was is not a big deal, but within a certain age range, so you feel at least comfortable, so you don't think things can go awry, right? And that they are of good standing in the community. Good standing. Say good standing. Why are you all looking at me? Good standing. So he introduced me to this guy whom he thought was super duper. I thought so too. I thought he was super duper. Hi, Cindy. Hi. Hello. So I thought this guy was super duper too. And we started talking and we went out to eat. So, when you're dating first, people tend to be what? You're dating their cousins. So they put on their best face. But he apparently didn't know much about me. This was about 4 or 5 years ago. So he didn't know much about me. I don't think he had done most of his due diligence like he should have. Otherwise, he would have known, right? So Dude decides that he is Sydney, you're not gonna believe it. He decides that he thinks he's all that. Yeah, he was a nice guy, upstanding member of the community, all that kind of stuff. But that's the facade, right? So when we started talking, we went out on one date, then we were going out on a second date. And sometimes they can only hold the facade for so long. And then he said I was so after the second date was over, we got to the second date. He texted me to say that he thinks I'm an alpha female. I was so blown away, y'all. I kind of had to, I said, alpha female. I said, what is an alpha female? I said, is it a woman who is confident and who asks for what she wants? You refer to her as being an alpha female. But a man who is confident is just a powerful man. A man who states what he wants and does what he wants is just a man. But a woman is an alpha female. I said, that is so disingenuous of you. And I told him, I said, you're being horribly sexist. And the thing is, he has a daughter. And I said, how are you raising your daughter to be partner to a man? Let me hear what Cindy has to say. Really strong women intimidate weak men. Oh, girl, stop. No, baby. No, Cindy, you blew that out of the park. Yes, strong women intimidate weak men. But it's true. So what happens is, I asked him, how is he raising his daughter? Seriously, you guys, I asked him, well, what are you raising your daughter to be? What kind of partner is she going to be in a relationship? Submissive? I said, are you telling her that a man should walk all over her and so on? And guess what? He had never thought about that. It had not occurred to him. He said he models the behavior. He takes her out. He treats her like a lady and shows her the kind of partner she will choose. I said, but in that modeling, are you being an alpha male? Because she's going to choose a partner or model after a partner like daddy. So you are telling her that it's okay for her to be stomped on and that the man she will end up with will stop. Do you know he got almighty mad? He got righteously indignant because I said to him, it never occurred to you about the messaging that you are communicating to your daughter. Here you are telling your daughter that for her to be a lady like me is being an alpha female and is not appealing. So you're telling her when she goes to work, it's okay for her boss to step over her, and it's going to be okay for her boyfriend to push her around, and perhaps even sexually assault her. Then she's going to come crying to you, who's going to go pick up your gun and go chase somebody down the street. And he sat back and he said, wow. I said, see, that's what you need to think about. I said, we're at the stage of life when we have children. So what we're doing now is our children are watching us and they're modeling our behavior. You can say all you want to say. They're watching and they're going to repeat the same things that we do. Right. And I said to him, and then I said, personally, I'm just being transparent. I said, personally, you hurt my feelings. because you don't know what kind of life I have had to live. I didn't get the life where daddy was going to take care of everything. I didn't get the life where I had a knight in shining armor who was going to come and solve all my issues. I was a female with two breasts and a vagina who showed up for work and who men felt like they could push around. And I had to find my voice. I had to speak up. Otherwise, I would be shut down. I said, I never got to where I am by being submissive and by sitting back. I had to speak up. I said, you like me? You like the fact you like going out with me because you think it's cool and you think your friends, you get to have a trophy on your arm, blah, blah, blah. I said, but do you think I just got here because I leaned in? Do you think I got here because I just knew my value and I was in the right networking spaces? I said, no. I had to speak up. I had to have a voice. I had to find my voice when injustice was coming at me. And I met injustice everywhere. I said, my own husband, whom I was married to, who declared that he loved me and he would take care of me, was the first one who violated the covenant and beat me up. So it didn't end well for him, because afterwards, I was like, no, you hurt my feelings as a female whom you're trying to entangle with romantically. If you're going to refer to me as an alpha female, it means you find me unattractive. And the very things that you find unattractive about me are the very things that I use as tools to empower myself. Right? So this is so I woke up with this thought in my head and I'm like, is it possible that the reason a lot of us, male and female alike, are single is because a prospective partner thinks that we are too what? Say it. We are too confident. Now, there's a difference between being confident and arrogant, isn't there? Right? There's a difference, right? Strong men will help empower you. Absolutely. A man who is a strong man is a man who knows his place and he's confident in his masculinity and in his identity as your partner. He doesn't need you to define it. He already has it defined. He just asks you, what do you want? He doesn't need a definition of his role because he knows what his role is. His role is being your helpmate. So he knows that. What he wants to know is, how can I help you to get to where you want to be? What do you need me to do? That's a strong man. You see them all the time. You go out with them and they're the ones taking photos of you, or they're holding your purse. It doesn't bother them. They're sitting outside. Have you gone shopping on a Saturday and you've seen husbands just sitting outside the store like so resentful because he's the one sitting out there, sometimes holding all the bags? There's some men who are happy and there's some who are just resentful. I could be on the golf course. I could be doing some do-it-yourself. Heck, I could be watching football right now. And I am just amused. But I want to ask that question. Do you really think that your confidence factor, that thing that you, because here's the truth. If that is the case, Cindy, it's not looking good for me. Because in order for me to be who I am and do what I need to do, I need to be confident, right? That's the public. But when I guess with that guy, he wasn't seeing the public and private persona that you're public and you're public. But when you're out in the public, that's one thing, And when you're privately, you are just a normal person. I guess he couldn't see the mix. I think he was just intimidated, as Cindy says, and was just threatened, which means that he didn't have a clear definition of his own role in a relationship. And I tell you how I proved it. I did bring the question up and I did prove it. I learned later that his marriage had ended because his wife had left him for a woman. If that is not enough to blow a man's confidence, I don't know what is. Because I kept saying, a man like you shouldn't have issues with your role and your definition of your role with a woman, any woman, and especially a woman who is empowered. So what kind of woman do you date? You're a professional and you occupy professional spaces. So who do you date? Because that tells me what you are and what you like. And he says he dates women like me. I said, well, if you do, I don't, what's going on here. So let me hear what Cindy says. Support you in whatever you're doing, even when he's uncomfortable with it, just because he loves you and wants you to succeed and be happy. That is a two-way street. You also have to give that back. Absolutely. A strong man, a man who is confident, is someone who loves you and supports you, even when he doesn't understand it. But just because you're doing it, he supports you nonetheless. But it works the other way too. You have to give it back. And I think what most of us encounter is that we're searching for that. We're searching for the person who will do that so that you can do it, because you understand that that is something that you have to do too. So you're searching for who is going to be there for me while I'm being there for him. A friend of mine recently who has been dating for a while, she's the queen of online dating. She's braver than I am. I'm not so brave. And we were talking about this. She's several years older than I am. So we never really talked about dating because I thought our experiences would have been very different based on the age difference. But when she brought the subject up, I couldn't help. I said, "Oh, so it happens to you? So you thought that we were all just crazy?" When she brought it up, she says, "It is so difficult to find a man who is not threatened by her." And she said at first she was blaming herself, that it was something about her or whatever. And she finally had met someone who accepted her right on her terms. Now, you have to know this lady. She's very giving, right? And she's conscious of what her role is in the society, that if she wants to be with someone, this is what it is going to take to do it, right? So she was confident of that. So what was the issue? What was the issue? You know what the issue was? Like I said to her, I said, "You're just meeting everybody," who I find that sometimes people in relationships compete with one another. And I'm like, how do you expect to succeed? What's your goal? Is your goal to succeed as a couple? Then why are you competing with one another? And I think that was the case with this guy, because he said some things afterwards. He made some utterances. It was at that time when I was still on radio in Detroit, and I was being hunted. I was being sourced by a major host, a radio personality, to be sort of like a co-host from Detroit to do certain parts of it. And it would have been quite lucrative, except their sponsorship stopped and the elections were on and it was just not. Right? And I remember telling him, and you know what he said? He said, "Does that mean you're going to be national? So you're going to be famous and you're going to be national now?" I'm glad he said it, because immediately I thought to myself, I'm so glad people show you their true colors and who they are. You see, what was guiding him all along. It wasn't that he thought I was a alpha female. He was just jealous that perhaps I possessed an element in my personality that he didn't have. As confident as he presented himself to be, that might have been an aura or a facade. For me, it was the real deal. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is why when you find yourself in a relationship where your partner says you're overconfident, and if they take it to the next level and call you alpha, that means you're arrogant. Their perception of you is that you're arrogant. You have to sit back and think about it. You have to ask yourself and ask your partner, why does he or she think that? Because it's important to understand it, because there's a dynamic there. Is it about you or is it about them? Is it that they feel that way about themselves, or is it about you? Are you really overconfident? Because here's the thing. You can be confident as a personality in the field that you work in. But when it comes to the relationship, that's a whole different dynamic. Do you see what I'm saying? And up until then, there was nothing that we didn't have a relationship. We were just gone out on a date. So how come first pop you're going to tell me I'm alpha female? That means you're telling me you can't date me because you are threatened by me. And I find that what happens is a lot of people perhaps don't understand the difference And perception is everything. We go out with people, we meet them, we have this perception of who we think they are, and it either turns us on or it doesn't turn us on, and then you get involved in it and you realize that there is something wrong with it. And this is across all cultures. This has nothing to do with specifics of culture, that cultural dynamics or cultural sensitivities or ethnicities or anything. This is just people. This is a people thing, right? This is a people thing, right? Certain parts of the world where you come from, people tend to have certain preconceptions, right? The video is frozen. I'm sorry. It's streaming on another platform. I don't know why that's a Facebook thing. It's streaming on another platform. Yeah, you're right. The video is frozen. Facebook, I hate you. Oh, geez. It's Facebook, but it's streaming on other platforms. I'm streaming on other interfaces. So what I'm saying is, and look at that, Facebook is something else. So what I'm saying is, we need to have a good afternoon. It was nice to hear from you. Thank you. The video froze and she had to go. Thank you, Facebook. So anyway, so what I'm saying is, so people, it depends on who you are, where you're coming from. I hate Facebook. I'm going to stop doing Facebook Lives. You all are going to have to come over to YouTube or go to my website. I cannot do Facebook because the video is frozen for whatever reason. If it's not one thing, it's the other. Yesterday, I was using a different computer and that video stopped. Turned the camera off. Today it's frozen for no reason whatsoever. Right? And there's nothing wrong with it, with the device I'm using. But the point I'm making is you have to look at relationships from the perspective that what does it mean to you and what does it mean to them? What is their definition of a good relationship? That's a question I love to ask people. When you meet someone and you go out with them, you let them talk. Guys and girls, let the other person talk. You don't do the talking. Let them talk. In their discourse, you're going to learn what you need to learn, whether this is someplace you need to be to move on or not. But let them do the talking, right? Twitter is glitching. I just came over here. Oh, Twitter is also glitching. I guess they don't like me. So come next week, we're going to start streaming through my website. But you know which platform is good? Is YouTube. Clear as day, and it never glitches. This is why I always say click on the YouTube link. YouTube does not glitch. It's clear as day. So go to YouTube. Okay? Because Facebook is just crazy. I mean, they glitch. Did Facebook so it would be easier. So, you just click one time and you're right there, but they glitch and so on. Twitter is glitching. So YouTube does not glitch. They give YouTube a bad rap, but YouTube is the most stable platforms for streaming. Okay. So it depends on what you want out of the relationship. And I mean, for that person, it was over. I mean, you're going to call me alpha female. That was it. That was just it. Say hi. In fact, it was talking to me the other day, but that's another story for another time. But yeah, yeah. And I know you're all laughing at me, but seriously, right? I'm pretty clear over here. Okay. But do you see what I mean? So it depends on who. Thank you, Mr. Springer. I appreciate it, Mike. So it depends on who you are and what you want. So how do you feel if your partner, because look at it this way, this is your partner. Most of us, when we go out, we're interviewing candidates because we have a vacancy. So there is a vacancy for a partner, a life partner, right? There's a vacancy for that. So you're interviewing candidates. Will the best candidate win? Not necessarily. Sometimes the best candidate is hidden because he's afraid to come forward or she's afraid to say anything, right? Because believe it or not, the next time I went on a date, I never said a word. I just sat there. I said, no, I'm not saying anything. I didn't talk, nothing. And he ran roughshod all over me. And I was like, oh my God, I can't win. I kid you not. Because what do you do? So you're alpha female because they know about you. right? And then over here, this other person, he was just like, you let him talk, 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 talk. So he felt like he could do whatever he wanted to do because he was the man. What is being the man? What is being a man? What are the characteristics in being a man? I just listened and listened for a year, for 2 years. I just listened. I didn't say anything. But see, when I started talking now, that's when it ended, because I said, I've listened and I've heard you, and you did exactly what you wanted. What I wanted did not factor into it. None of the things I wanted, I got out of it. So this is not the place for me. You need to stay with the people who you best fit with. I'm not the best. I'm not a fit for you. And that was it. I was like, it's the truth. It's kind of like trying to come back, but it's the truth. I'm just being transparent. It's the truth, because because what is the point? Like my friend says, she says she's at the stage of life where she's looking for a partner, and she doesn't want anyone who feels like they have to compete with her. No, she's an accomplished lady. She has several accomplishments. Guys, you've got to accept, in today's world, it's going to be very difficult and hard for you to meet a woman who does not have some life goals. And it's going to be harder to meet someone who has not performed some of her goals. You can't say that you can't appear to be jealous or appear to be, intimidated by it. She's looking to you as a man. What she needs out of you is a man. Can I just be honest with that? What I was looking for is a man, the man to come out. I needed the man to balance me out. I'm living in my own world. I'm female all day, feminine all day. I needed the man to step forward. He was hiding under all these layers because he was afraid of my light and afraid that if he came out, I couldn't understand it. I'm like, good God. This is why good girls end up with what? Bad boys. Because bad boys are sociopathic. Bad boys profile you and know exactly what they need, what you need to hear. So he says what she needs to hear so he can get what he wants out of her. Meanwhile, the good boys are in hiding. I'm afraid because you intimidate me. So what's the difference between arrogance and confidence? That's a good question. Can I ask you? What's the difference between arrogance and confidence? What is that? You know what arrogance is? Uncaring of how the other person feels, taking them for granted. That's arrogance. You know what confidence is? I am sure of myself. That's all. That's all confidence is. I am sure that the outcome I desire is the one I will get. Arrogance is uncaring of the other person or the methods they will use to get what they want. That's arrogance. Now, men like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and so on, they will tell you that the difference between arrogance and confidence for them is a fine line. Because often to achieve what they have wanted to achieve, they've had to ignore all those things about caring about people's outcomes and people's feelings in order to get to where they want to be. Do you see how it's okay for a man to do it? But if I do it, it's a problem. If a woman does it, she's accused of being an alpha female. A man should be confident of himself and not be intimidated by a woman and her independence. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's coming from a man. Take that. You see what I'm saying? I like confidence in a man. It's an admirable trait. I like to see confident men. I don't care what you do. You're confident about yourself, that any environment you go in, you can win. I like that. I like confidence in a man. It has nothing to do with, with arrogance. Arrogance turns me off. Because when you're arrogant, that means you don't care about how someone else will feel. And you don't care about how your actions will have an impact on that person. Now, when you're working on a business deal, you can be arrogant all day. That's where your arrogance is needed. because that's business. And to execute that, that's business. But in a relationship, you have to be considerate of the person's feelings if they matter to you. Now, for me, I understand that fine line. So I'm going to say, well, it doesn't matter. No, for some people, that may not even be an issue. They may just, and again, guys, it's finding the right fit. What fits you, right? Some people would say, I don't have time for all that. I can't be bothered with all that. I'll just find me someone who satisfies my immediate needs of sex. And when I need sex or when I need companionship, I just need sex right now. And that's it. There's some people for whom that is their manifesto. And then there are some people who are saying, but for the long term, though, I want a better fit. I want someone who fits me in all the areas that are important. Right? So what is important to you? I think most men want someone who fits them, but they don't know how to enunciate it. And I think women are better at saying and expressing what we want. So it is going to appear that the woman is more confident to the point of arrogance because she's better at expressing what she wants. She's clearer in what she wants. A man might know it, but he doesn't say it because it's culture. The way he was raised is the way he was socialized. Men don't talk a lot. They tend to be monosyllabic. Oh, okay. No. Or one-liners. I call them one-liners. You ever talk to men? Like, I will text my brother. I have a whole paragraph I just texted him. I really was just saying hello, but it turned out to be a whole paragraph. You know, he texts me back, hey, sis, I'm good. You? One line. Did I just take the whole paragraph? It's amazing. So you get to understand that it's not that he may not even have read everything I said, but then I'm like, did you even read that? And he's like, yeah, I read it. And I'm good. You, again, one line. The difference between male and female is one of my brothers, Hank, he's hilarious. He's like that. And I'm like, oh, I really just wanted a brother right now. And he's like, I'm here. Like, did I leave the planet? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Do you see the difference? But I think it's those differences that make interactions between male and female interesting. It's supposed to add to the mystique. It's supposed to add to the mystery, the uncovering of the person, to get underneath all the layers to find the true gem that is there. In today's world, everything is instant, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Nobody takes time to get to know anybody. It's get to me, get on me, get below me, get beneath me, get on your knees before me, and that's it. And so people don't take the time to understand the dynamics that's what makes the relationship work. When you do take time to discover that, that's when you find the niche and find that click that just clicks. Some people go through life and they'll never find the click because they never take the time to find out. They're just like, I'm too busy. I have this to do, that to do. Well, relationships then are not important to you because you don't take the time. People, hear this clearly. When someone tells you they're busy, that means they don't want to spend time with you. Because people make time for what they want and whom they want. When they want time with you, they're going to find the time, no matter how busy they are. I always say this, nobody is busier than the president of the United States. That's the busiest man in the world, right? Arguably. That's somebody who is running not just his country, but every other country on the planet. That's a busy person. His mind is occupied. That's a busy person. Yet, he schedules every interaction, and he has a schedule that he complies with so he can be effective. So when Joe Blow here tells you that he's too busy, time out. When Mary Blow tells you she's too busy, time out. Girl, you don't have the schedule of the United States president. You might be a doctor in an emergency room, but you never have time anyway, not even for yourself. So you're not going to have time for a relationship. Do you see what I'm saying? People make time for what's important. So if somebody is telling you, using these terms to say, well, I'm too busy to talk or I'm too busy for this, that means they don't want you. They don't even want a relationship. They want something that is convenient and instant gratification, and they want it on the go, and then they keep on going. Because what's important to them is whatever they're doing, the project they're working on, the business they're running, the business they have, their job description, what they're doing, that's what's important to them. So don't even waste your time, right? You save your breath, save your time, and keep it moving. And you don't want all those to internalize all that negativity anyway, because you might meet the next person might be the right person. The next person is the right person. But because you have been so absorbed with everything else, you just didn't get there. You see what I'm saying? Helping you? Right? Right. Right? Relationships are tricky. A man should be, listen to this. One-liners usually means the person is not that interested in some cases. Yep. One-liners, yeah, they're not that interested. Their minds are elsewhere. And let's be clear, especially in today's world, we are so often distracted that it's very difficult to, I'm excusing a lot here. It's very difficult to not be distracted by something here. And sometimes they want to get to the bottom line. What's the bottom line here? I'm here because I want to have sex with you. I'm here because I want to be with you. I'm here because I want to go out to dinner and I need a companion to go out to dinner. I'm here because I need a companion to go somewhere else. What's the bottom line? People today are very superficial. I was having this conversation with my children the other day about how their generation don't connect. I'm like, you're sitting in a group and everybody's on their phone. I said, you don't know what connection is, so you don't connect. So you don't know what relationships are. So that's where you have a hookup, because that's all it is. You ask somebody, so you want to do it now? And I'm like, where's the foreplay? Where is the mental involvement that promotes a good feeling before and during and after? And she was sitting there like, both my daughters were like, huh? And I said, exactly. I said, I'm talking to you right now and you're on your phone. You're not connecting with me. Put the phone down so you can connect. And a lot of times people have a million things, even if they're not using their phones, they have a million things that they have already connected with that they're not. The guy I was telling you about, whom I went out on the date with, who called me an alpha female, you know what he said? Because we had conversations afterwards. You know what he said? He said, the problem is that you are holding me to a standard. And he said, there are other women who make it easier for me. So they don't ask for anything. So I can just go to them, get what I want, and be done. And if I want them again, they're available. But you are saying that you want me to be there mentally anymore. Can you believe that? Ladies, what kind of messages are you sending out to these men? Are you telling them it's okay for you to be a booty call? Are you telling them it's okay to just see them whenever they want to see you and it's okay? What kind of messaging, right? What kind of messaging when you say to them, no, I'm not going to sleep with you if we're not in a relationship? Ladies, what are we saying to men? We are giving them messages and they're acting on it and they're thinking it's okay or not okay. So you have to be clear in what you want. Okay, so if this is just a hookup that you want, time out, it's not for me. Right? Right. So it's almost 11 o'clock. So you're all still here. That means you still want something. Right? So the question really is, what does confidence have to do with the relationship, though, while you're in the relationship? Of course, it has everything to do with it. You have to be confident of the outcome. But here's the difference. Your confidence should not be at the expense of your partner's discomfort. Then it's not a relationship now. It's a business. Do you see what I'm saying? It has become a business partnership. So because that means you don't care about their feelings. And if you don't care about their feelings, right? If you don't care about their feelings, guess what? Then you don't care about them. So if your confidence comes at the expense of how the other person feels, step back a little bit and examine how that is, right? Examine that. How do you feel about the person? Do you care about them? Then you adjust your behavior accordingly. That's what I did the second time around. I adjusted. I just said, well, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want him to feel bad, or I don't want him to feel as if I'm encroaching. So let me not say anything. Right. And he didn't get it either. He didn't get it. He didn't understand it. By the time he figured it out, it was too late, because he just went overboard. He just kept going and going and going and never stopped to consider someone else. Relationships are two ways. There are two people in the relationship. It's not just one. And we got to be careful when we engage with others. We hurt people. We leave them hurt, busted up, and bruised as a result of our actions. Now, the guy I went out with that one, he did apologize sincerely. Oh my God, he went on and apologizing for his mishandling of it. He did apologize. That was big of him, right? That was, and to his regret, he said, I regret it sincerely, right? So we have to be we're human. We make mistakes. And I eventually said that I get it. You're human. We make mistakes. Timing and everything, a lot might have been going on or whatever. But we also are responsible for ourselves. And we have to be responsible for how we play out ourselves in relationships. We affect and impact other people's feelings and other people's lives, right? And we hurt them more than we love them. And we hurt people more than we care. So we need to be conscious of that. A relationship is not you alone. It's not me alone. It's both of us. So I have to consider the other person's feelings as much as they have to consider my feelings also. Right? So we need to be clear of that. A line of communication is key. Say it one more time so that those in the penny section will hear. Communication. Conversation. If you're not talking, you're not communicating, and you're going to end up in couples therapy. Right? Conversation. Ask questions. If at all possible, right? You're going to ask questions that might be filled with emotion. Delay. Take a deep breath, because it's worth it. Trust me, it is. If you care about the person, you do not want them to be hurt. It's amazing to me how you will hold them and say, I'm sorry. I don't want you to be hurt by what I said. It doesn't matter. You'd be amazed how when you care about someone, when you realize the impact of your actions and your words on them, how much it doesn't matter anymore, because you realize how much it affects them and hurts them. And this is why people say nowadays, love is a temporary emotion. Because people don't talk to one another. We don't communicate. We don't have conversations. Isn't that true, Mr. Springer? Mike, isn't that true? We don't talk. So we say, oh, I love you, as if that is a placebo and a panacea for everything that you have done. And all that it does is hurt. Our actions and our words hurt each other, right? And we don't care. Because all we're thinking of is ourselves. That's all we're thinking of. My outcome, what is going to happen for me, and what is it going to mean for me? And then before you know it, you hurt someone. And then you find out that you didn't want to hurt them because you like them, and you might even have loved them, right? Ain't that something? Communication, everybody. We got to talk to one another. We should talk to one another. Say hello. Talk, and talk some more. If you ever wondered why I was married to an abusive man for 13 years, you want to know something? He used to talk a lot at 1 o'clock in the morning. I think it was part of his abuse cycle. Wake you up and tire you out so you're too tired when you go to work the next day. But he used to talk, and I would listen. That's how come I learned so much about what was going on in his mind. He would talk forever. Conversation is key. When we got divorced, check this out. He spent so much of his time tearing me down and beating me up. I used to tell him we were stronger together and better off together. He didn't believe me. I said financially and in every way we're strong. He didn't believe me. He was too busy trying to assume control over another human being. Can't work, right? When we got divorced, now we just finished the divorce. in the courthouse. It's done. All parties agreed, it's signed. We're standing on the steps of the courthouse. That's what it took for him to realize that we were friends. He said, I can't believe I'm losing one of my best friends. I'm looking around. I said, who? He said, you. Do you see what I'm saying? All that time that we spent communicating, that he talked and talked, he felt like he had someone whom he trusted and whom he could talk to. He didn't realize how valuable it was. 13 years, you would have thought by the end of the first year he'd get it. But sometimes we don't read subtly, right? He didn't get it. It was at the end of it all. And he never remarried because he said he never found that again. Regrettably, he died, my ex-husband. Yes, he did. And I think he died of a broken heart because he couldn't get over himself or forgive himself for the pain and what he had put us through. But he couldn't forgive himself for having gotten something and let go of something that was valuable. And that's what I want you to remember. You see the person you're with? If you care about them and they care about you and they do the things for you, you need to consider if this is the person I'm keeping for life. How valuable is this person to me? And work at it so that you don't end up like my ex-husband did. Read my book, Through the Fire, standing on the steps of a courthouse, realizing that he damaged and ruined something that was so intrinsically important to him that the value was to him. That's the worst thing ever, was when you wake up and realize that what that thing meant to you is walking away and you damaged it so bad you can't ever get it back. That is the sad part of a relationship. I don't want you to go through that. So I want you to work at it. This is why I talk about these things, because I want you to work at it so you don't end up like it happened with me, right? That you walk away and you realize that this is important to me, so I'm going to work at it. Work at the relationships in your life that are important. The people who are important to you, work at it. If something happens and they're dissatisfied, tell them, I'm sorry, baby, I love you. What? Reassure them, let them know. Because it's important to you, right? And just as you're important to them, they're important to you as well. Right? Right? You see now why I love you all? You see now why I take the time to talk to you all, right? I think he was losing his so-called control over you. That was a part of it. But in that moment, yeah, Mike, but in that moment, he became aware that he had also lost something that could have been valuable, that was valuable to him. This is why we have to be so careful about relationships. You know what I mean? It's sometimes, and I'm going to end it here, sometimes in an effort to retain something of value, we exert too much control over it. And in exerting too much control, we lose it anyhow. It kind of just goes away. People don't like to feel that they're being controlled. People want to feel that their needs are being met, right? Right? So think about that. I want you to think about it. So the person next to you, text them. Are you going to text them when this is over? Tell them, nice, I love you. You don't have to cook this evening. I'm going to bring dinner home. What you want? Or do you have saved photos of you in some appealing pose that they would like? Tell them, look what you're going to get later, right? And tell them I love you and I'm here for you and I'm going to be here. Sometimes just saying I'm here. They call you crying because something happened at work or they're distressed, something is going on. You just listen and say, I love you. I love you. And I'm going to hug you later. Okay? Right? All right, everybody. Thank you. It's Thursday. Go out and live your best life. Come on. Go out and live your best life. I'm doing mine. How about you? Go out and live your best life. Right? Have fun. See you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye now. See you tomorrow. See ya. See ya tomorrow. Tomorrow. There'll always be tomorrow. Because tomorrow is only a day away. Right? Just thinking about tomorrow. Think about it. Just tomorrow. Wow. You guys, hey. Hey. Yeah. Yes, I'm next. Yes, I am. Thank you. Thank you for loving my hair. Thank you about my hair. About my hair. Make you love me. Oh, these folks. So interesting chats over here. Oh my God. Just thinking about tomorrow. Just thinking about tomorrow is enough to make your sorrows or whatever the song says, right? Just thinking about tomorrow, it's enough to take away the sorrows, right? Tomorrow, tomorrow, I'll always, tomorrow. It's always a day. Hello? So I can hear them, but how do I enable it so they hear me? I have to figure that out. Like,